Hi guys, Grant Nelson again here with the Mustache Off-Grid YouTube channel. In case you're new to the channel, I cover various off-grid and homesteading topics. I live off-grid in southern Missouri in a log cabin that I built, and I try to promote off-grid living and self-sufficiency and live my life in a godly way. Anyway, a lot of these videos that I do, I try to do a talk at least once a week. Sometimes I talk about self-sufficiency topics, sometimes I talk about society, sometimes I cover different things, just hanging out in the woods. And I was thinking today about off-grid living and homesteading, and I was out in the world, and you know, I get to talking with people that are like fairly normal. You know, whether it's in the store or, you know, at church or different places. And normal is relative, I guess. And I get to talking with people, and we were talking about the quality of the workforce in America. And it seems to me like, you know, I'm not saying that there's not people that do a good job, but it seems to me like there's a lot of people out there that are really bad at their jobs. Customer service, different things like that, where I've seen things where I'm like, I don't know how you could think that that was a good idea to do it that way. And it's like common sense to me. And I talk with some people that I know I've worked with before that are actually reasonable people. And I say to myself, is it just me, or, you know, has the world just like, the quality of the work really changed? And not just the workforce, but the work. And I don't know if it's a lot of people that are out in the world today that are, have never worked before and they're just starting out. I mean, there's always been people that it's their first job, and that's fine. Most of them are actually pretty good because they're excited to try something new. And then there's other people that I don't know, like that are like in their 40s, 50s, and I don't know if they've ever actually worked. I think there's a lot of people now that the price of everything has made them have to go out and get a job. I don't know if it's that, but it seems to me like COVID has really changed the world, not just like the intelligence, but the attention span, the quality of the work. And I don't know if it's all by design or if people are just, if COVID, just like everyone being locked in, if there was some sort of psychosis, I don't know. But I've really noticed this, and I'm sure that some people watching this video will agree, and some will disagree and say, no, everyone's great, everyone's a good worker, which is not true. Sadly, you know, not everyone is of equal ability. You know, some people have two legs, some people have one, and I don't expect the person with one leg to win the race unless they're in a car. But it's just a fact of life. It's a fact of the animal kingdom. It's a fact of the human kingdom that not everyone is equal. And it's nice to treat everyone equally. I mean, you could treat everyone equally. You should treat everyone with respect as a human being. But as far as jobs, if you have 100 people working, there's always some people that rise to the top. Because they're better at the job. And some of them are 2 or 3 times as productive as the other workers that are doing the job. And why is that? You know, is it just that they're just better at it? Is that they have it's usually, I think, that they have a desire for it. They have a desire to rise. And, I mean, it's mostly based around money and power and all that. But the point that I'm getting at is some people are better at things than others. Everyone has their own gifts. And there's probably some people out there, you know, I hate to say this, but it almost seems like there's some people out there that have no gifts. And the Bible talks about gifts in Corinthians and all the different gifts that God gives, wisdom, discernment, you know, lots of other things like that. And I don't know, maybe it's a lack of God, you know, that the people tend to lack ability. I don't know. I think that there's probably something to that myself. But I'm just rambling here. Some of these opinions might be inconvenient truths, but they are truths. There is some truth in what I'm saying. It's kind of like cancel culture and stereotypes and things like that. And the truth of it is, there's actually some truth in almost all of it. And that's why people take it offensive, because it's the truth. The truth offends. And that's why when Jesus came, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And the truth offends. He is the truth, and it offends. Regardless of all that, I got to thinking about this attention span, quality of work, quality of product, the supply chain, you know, how it was taking 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks to get everything, or a week. Everything has slowed down, and then the price is higher. And it's been that way since COVID. I mean, it's gotten a little better as far as like supply chain backup, but it's still not where it used to be. And the price has risen with it. So that kind of offsets. I mean, whether you want to wait longer for a cheaper product or get a more expensive product faster, I don't know. But I was thinking about attention span. We'll just go there. And I was thinking about how my patience has really changed living off grid. And attention span is all about patience. It's about being willing to wait, how long you can actually focus on something before you give up on it. And the longer your attention span and the longer your time horizon in thought, in work, in a job, the greater your chance of success. If I have a job that I can complete in 1 week, and I set an expectation that I'm going to complete it in 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to get this job done, and I get it done in a week, I'm going to be satisfied with that. But if I would have made that a week, and it would have took me a week and a half, then I wouldn't be satisfied with it. The longer your time horizon is, the better your chances of success. It makes completing a task much easier. Like, for example, if you have a, I don't know, like I said, if you need to mow your lawn, and it takes you an extra day or two, and I don't know, that was a bad example, the lawn mowing thing. But the point I'm getting at is the longer your time horizon is, the better your chances of success on an actual project, because some things take people longer than others. And if it's something that you're unsure on how long it's going to take, it could take a week, it could take 4 weeks. The longer your time horizon is, the better your chances of success on a project. And most people want things done fast. And when it doesn't get done on time, they get disgruntled and upset. And that's what I'm talking about, patience. You know, for quality, you have to have patience. See, we live in a society of cheap, printed off goods where that quality and that patience is lacking. Efficiency and cheap, you know, money and time. Everyone's trying to save it all the time. And that's good to an extent, competitive. But in reality, it seems like the world, their attention span has just changed so much, and they can't keep up with it almost. I'm thinking about this, and I was thinking about a couple things that I thought of as far as attention span, and What's causing it, I don't know. I've heard Owen Benjamin, you know, and I don't really like the guy. But I've heard him say, talk about like a spell cast on society, and that people are walking around like NPCs while all this crazy stuff is going on. You know, there's conspiracy that people are eating children on Epstein Island, and the government won't release the files for people to see, and people are just walking around acting like everything's just normal and okay. And it's like, I don't really think everything is normal and okay. But 90% of the population is walking around acting like it is. And it's the same thing with the attention span and what I'm talking about here and the quality of work. I don't know if it's TikTok brain. That's kind of a term that I've heard. TikTok brain. Where people are online on social media watching all these quick, short videos, and they can't think long enough to make logical and reasonable thoughts. Or some of the thoughts sound good, but they aren't really good. They sound good in like a 1-minute thing, but you're not thinking long enough to actually come through and realize all the flaws in the logic, because it sounds good. It sounds nice. It sounds like equality. You know, like I was talking about earlier, everything's equal. But the sad truth is it's just not true. You could treat everyone equal, like I said, and you should, but not everyone is of equal ability. And I was thinking about when I was a kid, or when I was younger. I don't know if I was a kid, teen, maybe young adult. I would go up fishing in Wisconsin for muskie. And I caught a few small ones. I never caught any 40 inches. I think my biggest was like 34. I caught one that was like 28 inches once, and that was my first one. And I remember they call the muskie the fish of 10,000 cast. And there's times of the year when, you know, that's not true, but there's times of the year when that probably is true, that it probably does take 10,000 casts of line to actually catch them, especially if you're in a average body of water with muskie in it. And I remember I went out on the dock, and I was, you know, maybe 12, 13 years old. I don't know. I was young. I was in high school, I think. I don't know. And I casted, and my goal was to get to the 10,000 casts, because they called the muskie the fish of 10,000 casts. And I remember counting, and I actually think I probably did do at least 4,000 or 5,000 casts, if I can remember right. I was really casting, and I was going over the lake casting. This was over multiple days. And then around like 6,000 or 7,000 casts, I actually did catch a little 28-inch tiger muskie off the dock. And it took me days, and that goal to catch a muskie, because I had never caught one at that point in my life, took time, it took patience, it took determination, and eventually I caught one. Sure, it wasn't the biggest one in the world, but it was the species, and I was really excited that I had caught it. My point is that how can people improve their attention span? And I think that it's something that we should all be working on. We should all be working to improve ourselves, whether it's physically, mentally, logically. And I think that if you go on a fishing trip, and yeah, you can go down to a pond and you can pull out 100 bluegills in 2 hours. But I would say go on a fishing trip that's 8 to 10 hours and have a goal in mind to catch a trophy fish and chase that fish for 8 to 10 hours or days or however long it takes. And you might not catch it, but if you're focused on a very specific goal and a specific type of fish, I think that would improve your attention span greatly. So that's one thing I would say. Go on a tough fishing trip over multiple days. Another way that I would say that you can improve your attention span is by reading books. And this is some of the things that living off grid has actually, I think, helped me become a much smarter, more logical thinker. I've read so many books out here, more books than I have probably read in my entire life in the last 5 years. And I would say a great book, if any recommendation to anyone, the bestseller of all time, the Bible. I recommend the King James Version. Not the New King James, the King James Version. Either one, whatever. But regardless, if you read a book from cover to cover, instead of watching a YouTube video to learn something, that is going to greatly help your attention span in your logical thought process. And that's one thing living off grid, I've rediscovered the joy of reading because I don't have a television. I haven't had one in 5 years. I still have my phone. I need to get rid of it. I really do. Either that or I need to really get some discipline and put it in like a Faraday case somewhere or something, because it just eats at me. I'm on it way too much, hearing too much. I want to be a little more isolated, I think. But regardless, reading books really helps with your logical thought process and your attention span. And I think that when society has stopped reading and started watching videos, that's part of the problem. We're switching over from reading books to watching video, and the quality of what we're getting from that is a lot of impulse decisions and not thought through processes, and the videos are all online, so they don't actually have all the information that's included in books. They just don't. Not every book is online, and that's one thing I like, is I have discovered a lot of information in books that's just not on the internet. So anyway, reading books, getting in touch with nature for hours on end, not just 1 hour, 2 hour, I'm talking a full day. And another thing that I think has helped my attention span a little bit is cooking on the fire. My first year out here, I cooked every meal on the fire, and I still try to cook on the fire at least once or twice a week. And sometimes your fire is different heats. You could try to make it as hot as you want, cooking in cast iron or whatnot. And I'm not talking about just putting a hot dog on a stick on the fire. I'm talking about really cooking a meal on the fire. Sure, a hot dog on a stick is good once in a while. It's junk, and it's something I don't like to promote, but in reality, once in a while, it ain't probably going to hurt you. But I'm talking about real meals on the fire. Things about it, the food tastes better. The experience of sitting around the fire for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, preparing this meal, enjoying the fire, you have to slow down to do it. Whereas if you just go on your stove, turn the knob, you've got instant fire. You don't have to spend any time starting the fire. Cooking on the fire takes longer, but the experience and the joy of it offsets it. And I would recommend that anyone, whether you live in town, whether you live rural, you should make it a goal of yourself to cook on the fire a full meal, or for a full day, or for a full week. I would say at least make yourself some sort of a goal to cook on the fire at least once a week or once a month, a full meal, a real meal. If you want to cook on the fire for a whole week or a whole month, every meal with no propane, if you do that, your attention span's going to change. You're going to start to really realize the joy of doing it. Now, yeah, there's times that it might rain. There's times that it might snow. There's times that the ground might be frozen, you know, it might be cold. But if you cook on the fire every meal for a week or a month, your mind is going to be a lot more focused. And I promise you, the patience that it takes, it's going to help you in the long run. And I think that sometimes these natural processes are why people enjoy homesteading, because the natural processes that take longer, the manual labor, it's not all just pressing a button. And those things, like building a house or building a building, you know, you start with your boards, you try to do it as fast as you can, but you have a goal in mind on when you need it completed. These things all take time, and they take energy, and they take focus, and they take, like, if you're going to build a building, it might take you, depending on the size of the building, let's just say an 8 by 10, you're building it right, you know, it might take you a week. What other task do you do in your life that takes you a whole week to complete? You know, as far as like manual physical task, very few. But some of these things that take longer add to the joy. And I think that our society's attention span and our logic is changing because we aren't focusing on things long enough. Our patience is lacking because of that. And you're seeing it all around the world, in all these different modern countries. And it's making society much weaker, easier to manipulate, easier to control. And those are just three things that I think, you know, getting in touch with the outdoors, whether it's fishing, whatever, for a long period of time, reading books, cooking on the fire, building something, building an actual building, or you know, other things that take a long period of time in nature that are manual processes. When people sit down and do a puzzle at a table, that probably helps with their logic. In fact, scientists claim it does. But they're not actually getting any benefit necessarily out of doing the puzzle. Whereas there's plenty of tasks that you actually get something out of it. And that can just be a way of life, especially if you're trying to live off grid, or you're trying to prepare to go off grid, or however you want to do it. Those are just some things that I thought of. I thought the attention span in society, and those are my tips and pointers on what I would recommend to try to make yourself a better thinker. I feel like the phone's driving everyone crazy. It's driving me crazy. The AI hype, the internet, everything's at the push of a button. The efficiency is too efficient, and the quality is lacking because of it. So anyway, that's probably my ramble for the day. I don't know how long I've been talking, but that's what I would recommend as a non-professional person to increase your patience and to increase your thinking, your thought process. So anyway, hope you enjoy the video, guys. Hopefully you get something out of it. I'll probably try to make some more videos this week, and I've been a little bit busy lately making money, unfortunately, at a job. And anyway, hope you guys all enjoy the video. Thank you for watching. God bless. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Thank you. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make Bailey famous for YouTube. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.